Hi guys, my name is Mida and I've decided to speak to my mother before the youth event on the 17th of June. Okay, so Ma, why did you decide you wanted to start women's stewardship?
I always say it is based on the healing and the forgiveness, the grace of God in my own journey when I was a womb violator, and then I received the peace and the forgiveness from God to become a womb steward. There's a verse in the Bible where Paul speaks about going to comfort people using the same comfort that one has received when they needed comfort in their time. So practically for me, womb stewardship is an extension of His mercy that I received to other people who are undergoing the same processes that I was in back in the day.
You spoke about being a womb violator. Now in that womb violation, you had created my brother and I. What was it like being a single mother to Yolo and I?
Being a single mother, having been a womb violator, means for starters that I had to bring birth to children from two different fathers, but who are so dear to me. Now to actually watch one child enjoying the privilege of being in a healthy relationship with their father and the other not enjoying the same privilege was quite painful for me, especially because the one who was not feeling the love of their father was growing to hate the concept of not being loved, questioning herself all the time, why doesn't my father love me, why doesn't my father want me? And I didn't have the answers. So in that space, I really hated what I'd done to you guys for giving you that version of life, which I don't think is ideal for any child. But everything else was relatively easy. I mean, God managed to give us the provision we required financially. He gave us practically everything else that we required, but that this one thing, which I feel is key to any child's life, was missing.
And if you had a chance to go back and give yourself advice when you were my age, what would you say?
It's the same advice that I give you all the time, which I know sometimes it irritates you to hell and back, which is God and education. Guys, God and education, that's what I would have wanted to hear from a very early age. God, not because God and education are equivalent, but with God, education becomes not just education, it becomes understanding, it becomes wisdom. So for me, if I were to get that, I used to be a hard-driven person to study and get to the top of it, but I left God behind. And for me, I really want my children, I would want my young self to have taken both God and education.
And do you have any regrets from being a womb violator?
Any regrets that I have about being a womb violator is not that I've given birth to children out of wedlock. I'm regretting the fact that I lost my purity outside of wedlock. That is the only regret, because everything else would have happened like God would have wanted it. So the only regret I have is seeking the things instead of seeking the kingdom. I sought things, I sought my instant gratification. I went after everything that's going to give me pleasure, regardless of cost. And when the cost was high, it became too difficult for me to handle. So like I always say, whatever you do when you are young, do it to your ultimate best, but make sure you do not cause anything that is going to harm you and have consequences that are indelible. That is, consequences that you cannot erase. So when you are messing up, mess up whatever you want, but make sure you don't have permanent complications from instant and shallow pleasure.
Thank you, Ma, for sharing these words of wisdom. I think what I've learned from this whole situation and explanation is that anybody can start anywhere and end up at the bottom, but the only place to go from the bottom is the top, which is what you have showed me from explaining your journey. Thank you guys, that's all we have time for now. I hope to see you on the 17th of June at the next youth event. Bye!